Hello, so this is just a quick video about the Gabrieli virtual recording, which I think is going to be really, really exciting. You'll have had the email already with a marked score, all your parts if you've not got one from when we did it before, so that you can print them off and mark it up. Definitely just look at the score. There's a few places which I'm just going to talk through very briefly where we're just chopping things short. So generally making some semi-briefs into minims and then having a minim rest, because remember we're in 4-2. If we want to think of it like that. I think the thing with this, as we did when we first performed it, getting lots of style into it, the most important thing, as always in approaching early music, is that it doesn't get stodgy and it has to have lots of lift and life about it in order for it to work. So straight on from the off, and I will be singing some examples of this. So dum, bum, 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 bum. There's that lift between those repeated notes. We don't want da, 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 da. It's just going to kind of get washy, which it probably would have been in St. Mark's in Venice, but we're going to give ourselves a bit more of a lift. And then in that second bar, when we have the lots of lift, keep it nice and light through the quavers, and as long as we stick to that kind of general rule, we'll be fine. When you get to bar 5, that's the first marking that you'll see. I've taken that semi-brief down to a minim. It's just so it's a really nice and clear entry in the first choir. So bar 4, bum 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 bum, dum bum 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 bum. There's all that dotted stuff again. Dotted rhythms always in this music have to be so lifted. Dum bum bum bum. And we'll be absolutely fine. Going into letter A, again, you'll see on the marked score that I've reduced that semi-brief down to a minim, and actually just tailors off there a little bit. Da 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 dum bum bum bum. So just fade off onto that cadence before letter A. Then it's just ticking along nicely there, passing the idea across the choirs. The big one, which we worked lots on at the time, which seems a long time ago now, is when you get to bar 15, 16, and getting the lovely kind of echo softening of each choir. So choir 1 in 15, 1, ba da 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 da. That's me singing the last 2 notes of each choir, so that we get the ya dum da dum dee dee. So choir 3, you've got to work the hardest, I guess, in that we get that drop away, so that then that glorious moment where, okay, the choirs have been doing all this, and now we're going to be back, bang, together in the middle of bar 16. That's when it has to have the punch, lots of attack behind it. Keep the crotches short though. Ba, da 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 da. Ya, bum 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 bum. Lots of life about it. That'd be good. So that's what we want there. The big dynamic contrast will make that come off really nicely. Remember all these running parts across the choirs. Bar 18 is a prime example where we have ya ba 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 bum bum ba 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 bum bum ya ba 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 bum bum across the 3 parts. If you've got that moving part in the bass, we want to hear those 3 coming through the texture like that. And again, at the end of, towards the end, third beat of bar 19 in the 3rd choir, just tailor that off. So that then the 4th beat of bar 19, it's everybody lined up together again. Bang! We need lots of wallop there. So bar 18, bum bum bum, ba 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 bum bum, ya ba 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 bum bum bum, bum. And we're in. So tailor off if you're in the 3rd choir playing on the 3rd beat in bar 19, and then big everyone on the 4th beat of bar 19. Pretty much then ticks along. When we get to 22, again, that 2nd beat of 22 just fades off. Doesn't get shorter, but it fades off. And remember all these repeated notes. Choir 3 start this idea from the end of bar 22. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, lift, 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 and you'll be fine. That ticks along nicely. 35 is nice and strong. Again, it's quite homophonic in terms of what choir 2 and 3 are doing together generally, so it can be nice and big. And then you're into the 3-2 section, so it doesn't slow down at all. Keep going with the click. Bum, 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 bum. Then you're into that. Just be listening to that before you record this. I think just listen to the click track through, just so you can hear how that changes into the 3-2. Just so that when you're recording it, you'll know how that goes. It might take a couple of takes. Keep the 3-2 stuff, as always, it's got to dance, it's got to lift and bounce, and we'll be absolutely fine. The 3 choirs come back together, 4-2, 4-3, 4-2, 45. Big moment again, so really, really go for that. Bar 50, it's all this polyphonic stuff kicking off again. Bum, ba, da, 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 da. That stuff, if you've got those running quavers, bar 50 to 51, let's hear them sing, drive through them, but keep them nice and light. 49, 50, 51. 52, that's another marking, semi-brief chopped down to a minimum again, and just tailoring off the sound there. And then choir 1, take it away. And it just keeps building and building and building as we're getting back together, all 3 of us, to the end. Bar 58 and 59, in the first parts again, bum, 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 bum. That kind of bouncing across little theme there at the end of 58 to 59 is really key. Keep power driving through. It'll feel different to how we did it slightly when we did it in person. The most important people are the second violins in the final bar, because you've got something different. Stay in time, but go for it. And that actually springs to mind that we might have added some extra people to play in that note. So 2 notes. So I might just send that round to edit the final bar of something. Because annoyingly, I lost my original score. So I've marked up a new score, which should be pretty similar to what we've done before. I'll send around a recording that's a good one to kind of listen to for just the purposes of hearing it all together. And remember your click tracks. So there's going to be 3 click tracks, which you'll have in the email. And your choir isn't on it, but the other 2 choirs are. That's one to help keep everybody in time, so you can hear everything that's going on around you, and it'd be useful for pitch as well, so tuning. So even though it's not the most beautiful sound that you're going to be hearing from that kind of computerized sound, it is going to be very, very useful for tuning purposes and for counting purposes. So you can see how it all fits together. It's going to be great, and I think it's going to look really cool too.